That's got my juices flowing. First time I've done the crossover in the chair for Jimmy Smith. Really excited about a special guest in studio as we talk all things Sydney Kings and basketball for the final half hour of the program today. Don't forget, if you want to see the Kings, they're taking grab your Sydney Kings tickets today at Ticketek. The Kings tickets are selling fast. Ticketek, grab yours today. How good is this? Just $20. $20 for what I've said is the best fan day experience in Australian sport, and family tickets for just $45. Our guest in studio today, rising star of the Sydney Kings, 23-year-old guard Jasper Rentoy. Hello, Jasper.
How you going, guys?
Oh, hang on, I'll just flick that. Try that again. Hello, mate.
Hey guys, how you going?
You looking the part too, with your Kings gear on and the rest of it.
Yeah, living the dream right now.
Living the dream of it. Okay, tell us about how your journey into the Kings organisation.
Yeah, obviously it's probably not the typical journey. Like I'm born and bred from Sydney, so coming up through the ranks, played my juniors at Penrith, and was very fortunate enough to have the NBL 1 open up. I was coming through the ranks and played an NBL 1 season here in the East. I think 2 years ago. Then this past year was in Adelaide, and then they kind of reached out, or my agent reached out to them and invited me in to work out, and I must have done something good in the workouts for them to kind of sign me on. And again, it gave me a chance to come home and represent, my hometown team, which I supported my whole life. So you got to pinch me every day.
Yeah.
Obviously, just living the dream. If can't put into words most of the time. So
I bet. It's really cool. You certainly did something right. Really strong 2023 NBL 1 East season at the Eastern Mavericks. 12.3 points, 7.7 assists, 4.1 rebounds, 1.2 steals a game average. They're good numbers to the point where, they stood up and took notice. The Kings really impressed in your tryouts at the Kings, and you've signed on for the 2023-2024 NBL season for the first time. Okay, so you're through the door. Is it a case of, this is a team I supported growing up. You used to be sort of courtside, and now you're sort of in the thick of it. How do you kind of just put your feet back on the ground?
yeah, it definitely took some time. Like especially when I was here 2 years ago playing NBL 1. Like any spare time I had, I was going to Sydney Kings games, and I actually told Sean Bruce the other day, like I was there at that game when he put that sleeper celebration, and now I'm your teammate. So I think I've always prepared myself to be in this moment. So when things kind of settled down, I was like, okay, like I'm in the midst of it. The Kings saw they valued me and what I was bringing into the table. So I said, every day I'm just going to come in and work hard and learn as much as I can, and just focus on winning. This club has been the top these last 2 years, and I just want to come in and just contribute in any way I can. So I think when you come in with that mindset, it's kind of easy to come back down to earth for sure.
Well, just on that, I mean, you're walking into not just any club, but the best in the land, back-to-back championships, a new coach. I mean, what has Mahmood said to you in terms of what he expects from you in the organisation?
Yeah, so we have a bit of an acronym at the Kings, and it's funny how you mention it. We actually went over one of them today, which is the N in the Kings, we stands for now, and it's just being present. So definitely, I think with the group, it's so different from the last 2 years that, of course, you have some guys like Bruce and Glove and a lot of them that's come, but other than that, we do have a lot of new guys. So it's hard to we don't really feel the pressure just in the sense that we're a complete different team from those last 2 years. So, but yeah, we understand, we're chasing history is what they call it, but Mood just always kind of puts us in a frame of mind that, yep, let's just focus on each day as a time, each game as a time, because whatever we do now or today doesn't mean we're going to be a championship, at the end of the season. It's just focus on each day as its own.
Yeah, it's a great testament too, just looking at your introduction to the Kings, how important this NBL 1 tournament is.
Oh, it's massive. Like I was saying before, my journey to the NBL has been a bit different. Like I never, went to the college for US. I never made a state team. So it really gave me a chance to kind of show what I can do on like a semi-professional level and be in front of the right faces. Because I think coming up in Australian basketball, unless you're like making state teams or going to college in the US, you might not get those opportunities to be in front of the right eyes. So that's why I said I'm very fortunate, coming up in a time where I was still pretty young and the NBL 1 was around already and established. So it really put me in a position to get looked at by the Kings. And again, like hometown team, hometown kid. No, I don't think it gets any better than that. And it's very rare in professional sport. So very
Playing in the NBL 1, did you come up against any of your current teammates?
No, so I played because it was in the Adelaide conference. I played against some of the guys in 36ers. And again, that was massive for me because I think there was one of the teams out there that had, I think 4 or 5 NBL guys on one team. So it gave me a platform, not just to show what I can do, but also show to myself, oh, can I compete at the NBL level? Like these guys are NBL veterans. So
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Was there a point playing in that tournament you think, you know what, I think I can match it with these guys?
yeah, well, funny enough, when we in the NBL one in that conference, we played that team twice, and both games were my best games.
Oh,
So
yeah,
yeah,
that's the one you want to deliver. You know, it
yeah.
reminds me of I don't know if you follow the NFL, but there's a great punter. He came from AFL called Darren Bennett,
Mm.
and he was named the punter in the team of the '90s. He played for the San Diego Chargers, and he told the story about going to training for the first time. They said, "Oh, this young Aussie lad apparently he reckons he can kick the ball." So they give him the ball, and he drop punts or torpedoes this ball like 60, 70 metres down the
Yeah,
field,
wow.
and their jaws drop. They go, "Wow!" And he's carrying on like he does it all the time. And he revealed Darren Bennett in an interview. I didn't tell him that's the furthest I'd kicked a football in my entire life. So you get that opportunity and you pull out your best.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a big game for me, and had big games as well, and against other teams. But you just have that extra juice, like okay, this is the game that clubs and stuff will look at, like how does he go up against NBL talent, and I'm fortunate enough that on the day I was at my best, and I think the Kings really appreciate that too.
So you found yourself courtside for Kings games as a youngster and as a fan. Were there any players in particular that you really admired?
Yeah, so coming up, even more recently, Casper Ware was really big for me.
Mm.
I was fortunate enough to meet him, when I was coming up through the ranks and kind of pick his brain. We're kind of similar size. I'm obviously pretty undersized as a point guard in the NBL, and the stuff he taught me and kind of the wisdom he gave to me coming up in professional basketball really helped me or propelled me to set myself up to be successful at this level. So his guidance really helped. I was big on, obviously, I think everyone remembers Julian Kazoo
Yeah, yeah,
back at
yeah.
the entertainment center.
Yeah.
I know we weren't winning a lot of games back then, but he was a rock star for sure. Him and probably Jerome Rando as well. Just another guy, small guard, doing big things. So
Do you base your game on anybody, or is it just kind of how it naturally evolved? Like,
yeah, I think I've been fortunate enough in teams to have different roles every time. So I think now I feel comfortable in whatever team I kind of find myself in that I can adjust to whatever the team needs. Like how my dad was my first coach and he just raised me like, the point of the game is to win the game. So kind of anything I need to do
mm.
to kind of fit in or to contribute to winning. But yeah, I think if I had a preference, it's definitely like using my speed to get other guys involved. I think I'm a really good facilitator. Like I led the league in assists in the SA conference, but I was actually third in the whole country, and I was actually behind Strawn Bruce.
Oh
So
God, yeah, had a good
first,
game on the weekend too, Brucey.
yeah.
Yeah,
So first day in training camp when I came in, the first thing I said to him was like, "Oh, I was chasing you for at
yeah,
least second place in the NBL one assist ladder, but he's unbelievable. So
yeah.
he's a tough guy to catch for sure."
What have these guys been like in terms of embracing you?
Yeah, especially since day one, they made an effort to come out and speak to me, ask where I was from and my background and kind of how I made it through the ranks. I knew a couple guys already, like Angus Glover, who is from New South Wales as well. I met him throughout the ranks, coming up through junior basketball. I met Jalen Adams 2 years ago when he's here. He used to work out
Yeah.
near where I was working out, and I used to help him work out.
Is it the MVP year?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Okay.
the first day when I kind of came into the locker room, I shook his hand. I didn't really say who I was first.
Uh-huh.
Kind of wanted to see if he remembered. And he kind of looked at me funny. He was like, "Jasper?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh,
So
that's cool. Yeah.
So I think coming in, I was a bit more comfortable as well. Some of the people in the coaching stuff I knew as well. So again, it was the perfect situation for me, and I'm just very grateful, for the opportunity.
You got a great team ethic. Where did your passion for basketball come from? Were you a little kid that always had a ball in your hand? Was sort of part of what you watched as a family? Did you always have aspirations to be pro?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So we started definitely with my dad. He likes to claim the phrases like, I was the first one to put the ball in your hand. So I let him have that one. So he played all through his life. My mom did as well in high school, but nothing kind of professional. It was more just like local comp, stuff like that. But they were just huge fanatics of the game. And obviously picked it up through them. And then I just loved it so much. I ran with it. And since I was 2 years old, I had that passion. And then from even kindergarten, every day, they'd ask me who I wanted to be or what I want to do when I grow up. It was always to be a professional basketball player. So it's funny. My mom still has those pages about what you would write down, to kind of come into fruition.
Sort of like to manifest it at,
Yeah,
pop down your goals,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot to be said for that, and I admire your dedication and your commitment as
Mm.
well. How's your shooting game at the moment,
Yeah, it's
Jasper? Yeah,
going well. It's
yeah.
going well for sure. Just adapting a bit. The speed of the NBL and obviously the length and size of guys contesting is obviously
Mm.
something to get used to. But now it's going very well. We're working at it every day, and I think it's gonna come.
All right, spill the beans. Who are the cheeky ones in the group? Who are the ones that like to maybe trash talk a bit? Who are the annoying ones? Come on, give us something.
Trash
Maybe some of
talk.
them have bad jokes. I don't know. Like,
Trash talk. I think it's public knowledge that Jordy's a bit of a larrikin sometimes.
yeah.
He's got a great sense of humor. Always gets the guys going. But yeah, I don't know. I think Sean Bruce is as well. He's obviously the utmost professional, but at the times where he kind of gets you with those little jabs, it's very witty and very smart.
Uh-huh.
So nah, those guys are obviously great guys to be around.
All right, out of all your teammates, who is one that you wouldn't want to be seated next to on a 12-hour plane flight?
A 12-hour plane ride.
They
I'd probably.
just get in your ear and go, oh, please shut up.
I don't know if anyone's like talking like that, but I
Oh,
think
you're too kind, man.
I think in terms of just the practicality of it, I think either Jonah Bolden or John Hunter because they need as much leg room as possible, and I'm a
There's a
small
good
guy,
point, yeah.
so they're probably taking up my space on the plane.
How tall are they? I'm trying to think. How tall are they?
I think Jordy and Jonah are around like 6'10", 6'11", maybe even pushing 7 feet.
Quad's
to be
pretty.
honest,
Quad noise pretty.
Quad's
tall.
pretty tall
Yeah.
too. I'm not sure the numbers with him. He's a bit taller than JG, so
Yeah.
I don't want to get these guys wrong. They might give it to me in the locker room. So for those guys, we'll keep it on the down low for now.
What about NBA? You got a team there in the NBA?
Well, I've grown up a Laker fan. My dad was a diehard Kobe fan growing up, and
Yeah.
we were fortunate enough when I was 10 years old to watch Kobe play. Again, that means a lot more now than it did back then. So that was very special. So I'll say a Laker fan, but I don't tend to claim it a lot just because they're really up and down. And I like to think I'm watching more NBL than the NBA because I'm a part of it. So.
Oh, totally. But having said that, I mean, you've seen a number of the NBL players now performing really well in the NBA, and Josh Giddey's a prime example of that.
Huge, yeah.
But that's the thing. I mean, it's a testament to the standard of the NBL because outside of the NBA, you're talking about the best, some of the best domestic leagues in the world. NBL is got to be top 3.
Yeah, for sure. I have it as top 3, and that's like being modest in a sense that we're limited to like 3 imports. I've heard leagues that are overseas, they have
Yeah.
no limit on imports. So sometimes they would have 5 or 6 Americans on the team. So for us to again have only 3 Americans, maybe like another international because of the Next Star program, but mainly Aussies, I think it shows the talent that's really coming out of Australian basketball. And it's so excited. Like guys you mentioned, I got to play against them during junior basketball, and Josh Green was my teammate coming up too.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so he plays for the Dallas Mavericks.
And at the time, you're thinking this kid's pretty unreal.
Yeah,
Was there a sense that he was going to go on to He just signed a massive deal too, hasn't he, with the Mavs?
Yeah, he was
40
always
mil or something.
He was always very talented, but he actually loved AFL. So
Well, Josh Giddey's like that.
Yeah.
How he can read the floor, and he said in AFL it's all about playing the space. You kick it, next thing you know, you got your lead runners, and
Yeah.
and he sort of brings that kind of mentality to the court. That's why his vision is so good. 0457 736 736. We're going to get to a break. We're having so much fun. This is the crossover on SEN Afternoons. Our special guest in studio, Sydney King, Jasper Rentoy. The crossover this Thursday afternoon, Sydney King's Jasper Rentoy is our guest in studio. Western Sydney, a rugby league fan too, aren't you, Jasper?
yeah, huge Penrith fan.
Oh, didn't you pick a team there?
Yeah,
You must be laughing. You
Yeah,
must be
yeah.
laughing. 3 in a row, 4 grand finals.
Unreal.
Thank you very much. And do you ever sort of cross paths with any of the Panthers boys?
Yeah. Obviously, you kind of run into them. Being from Western Sydney, they're pretty prideful, so they're around the area a lot. But yeah, recently had a run-in with Jerome Luai. He was obviously at our game against New Zealand on the weekend, and yeah, he's been massive in terms of just providing guidance in a professional sporting space. He's obviously been and done it at the highest level, and obviously a winner as well. So something I try to follow in their footsteps, trying to rep Western Sydney wherever I go, and he's been massive. And again, I try not to geek out like those people that you looked up to, and then maybe just about a couple years later, you're speaking to them. So that's pretty wild to me.
That's pretty cool. So Jerome reached out to you. Did he?
Yeah.
Said, hey, man, thinking about coming to the game.
Yeah, yeah. It was like a week. We're at Cairns, and then I know he knew we came coming to play at home in New Zealand the week after. He just asked if we were playing. I said yeah. He said he was coming. Again, I wasn't sure. Obviously, with people like that, they get pretty busy. So I just said yeah. Hopefully, see you there. And he was there, and got to chat to him a bit after the game. And yeah, it was a pretty cool moment.
Sadly, we're out of time. Thank you so much for sparing half an hour in the studio, Jasper Rentoy. Best of luck for the season.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
There is
Appreciate it.
Jasper Rentoy from the Sydney Kings. And don't forget the Kings now 6-3. They're at home next Sunday. They take part in the first of 4 Hoops Capital doubleheaders at Kudos Bank Arena. The Flames are going to tip off the day's action at 1:30pm against Melbourne before the Kings take on the Bullets from 4pm. Kings memberships, full season memberships sold out, quickly selling out 3-game and 6-game memberships as well. There's only about 200 remaining, so get in fast. The biggest games of note, the Kings NBL 24 home schedule remaining a Christmas night against Illawarra. That is going to be huge. The club's first ever Pink Hoops doubleheader as well on the back of the Sydney Flames inaugural Pink game during the 2022-2023 season. That raised more than $20,000 for the McGrath Foundation. The club has announced an even bigger event for the coming campaign. The Kings recorded back-to-back wins during Indigenous round, downing both Illawarra and New Zealand. We'll come back and wrap things up.